One very common anti-nuclear narrative that I see a lot in social media is that we don't know what the effects of radiation are. So small amounts of radiation might be really, really scary because we don't know what the effects are. And the truth is, we really do. Here's an example right here. This person is saying, Fukushima only just released toxic water waste, and we have no idea of its impact yet. And that's not uncommon, particularly when it comes to the Fukushima water. It's a very small amount and people are afraid of it. Like, well, who knows what it will do? And the truth is we know what radiation does, particularly to people. There's basically 500,000 survivors from the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And there are also large cohorts of the Native Americans who were damaged by the uranium mining, by being overexposed to radon. And then there's also the radium dial painters. But the atomic bomb survivor cohort is just huge. It's just enormous. And so it's probably the most studied carcinogen of all of the carcinogens. So we do know what it will do. We do know its effects. What is unknown is the probabilistic nature of it. In other words, if you got a large dose of radiation, a large enough dose so that your cancer probability increased by 0.1%. Now, about 40% of all people are going to get cancer on average. And so if you increase that probability by 0.1%, you don't know which person of say 40.1% of people that would get cancer that were given that dose, you wouldn't know which one or which people were that 0.1%. That's the unknown of it. And that can be really scary in and of itself, that you don't know, right? The fact that you probably live your entire life and not have cancer and never notice it, that's not as scary as thinking you might get it. It's possible that you could get it, even though the probability might be extremely small, even with a large dose. And so that can be really scary, particularly when it comes to Fukushima, right? You don't know. And so if you don't know, that can be really scary. The funny thing is that the amount of water that's released from Fukushima is small compared to just any of the operating nuclear reactors there in China. China is really complaining about it because, they eat the fish that comes from the same water, but any one nuclear power plant in China is releasing far more than that every year. The issue is the dose. It comes down to the dose. The risk is in the dose. It's not in the unknown. The risk is in what's known as dose. How much radioactivity or how much radiation have you been exposed to? That's where the risk is, and it's something that's easily measurable, and you can calculate it for things like this, and you can be very extremely conservative and still come up with extremely safe doses. So the narrative is very compelling, right? You don't know. What if you get cancer? That can be really scary. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you liked it. Have a good day.